Hello, welcome to the CCL YouTube channel. My name's Alex, and today we're going to look at words and phrases for talking about different stages of life. This will help you to talk about your own life as well as people in your family. Life begins when a person is born. To be born is the verb, which I'm sure you know because you've probably learned to say something like, I was born on 6th November. The date that you say is your birthday, or if you include the year, this is your date of birth. The noun is therefore birth, and we say that a woman gives birth. For example, my sister gave birth to a boy, or most women nowadays give birth in a hospital. After someone is born, they are a baby. This is typically used up to the age of 12 months. You may also hear people refer to a newborn in the first 2 to 3 months. For example, the couple are very happy with their newborn baby. A very confusing term in English is infant. Medically, this normally means a baby between 2 and 12 months old. However, in the UK, we might refer to an infant school, which is for children between 4 and 7. And to make it even more confusing, legally, the term infancy can mean up to 18 years old. For this example, we'll think of a baby. She has babysat many small children, but this was her first time looking after an infant. When a child reaches 1, they're often beginning to walk, but they're not very steady on their feet and they often fall over. Between 1 and 3, we say they are a toddler. I can imagine a young footballer's parents talking about how they started at a young age, saying something like, he's been kicking a football since he was a toddler. The word child can mean anyone from birth up to 18 years old. We use it to mean all of these ages when we ask someone, do you have any children? Notice that the plural is children. We can't say childs. Very often when we say children, we're actually talking about a person between 3 and 12 years old. This is because we have other words for when they are older or younger. We might talk about when we were younger. For example, when I was a child, I asked a lot of questions. When a person reaches 13 years of age, they become a teenager. Technically, we could say a 18 or 19-year-old is still a teenager, but we wouldn't usually say this because they would already be an adult at this age. You might say something like, my cousin has just turned 13, she's now a teenager. We might shorten the word teenager to just teen, especially when we use the plural. For example, today's teens care deeply about social issues. And if you want to use teenager as an adjective, it becomes teenage. For example, I was quite sporty in my teenage years. At 18, we say that somebody becomes an adult. This is usually the age where you're able to make many decisions about what you do without your parents, but it also means you have more responsibility for your choices too. Of course, your parents will probably still try to give you good advice, so every 18-year-old has probably told their parents at some point, I'm an adult now. You might say that you're a young adult when you're between the age of 18 and 25. This is typically an age when you might go to university or get some other qualifications, start your first full-time job, and begin to establish a career. Adolescence is a word that we use to mean when somebody is growing from a child into an adult. This might sound like it means the same as teenager, but it is wider. Some people say that adolescence is from 10 to 24. A person between these ages is therefore an adolescent. This is often considered to be the most difficult stage of life because you're learning to be independent, and it can feel that many people expect a lot from you. We could say that many teenagers feel the pressures of adolescence. The next stage is often considered to be middle age. The age for which depends on who you ask, but it's often 40 to 65 years of age. Somebody who is in this age range is middle-aged. Many of your parents are probably middle-aged, but they might not like to be reminded about it. You might say to your friends though, my parents are both middle-aged. After 65, we might use the term old age or say they are old-aged or elderly. However, the age that old age begins is considered to be getting later as people are living longer. Typically, this is the age that people stop working and may start to have more health problems. Again, people often don't like to hear that they are old-aged or elderly, so instead you might tell somebody in this older category, you're not as young as you used to be. There are a few words that end with hood that we haven't discussed, but that describe major life stages. The first is childhood. This is a word that you might hear adults use to describe when they were a child. For example, I had a great childhood, or I didn't have the best childhood, but it made me who I am today. When you become an adult, you reach adulthood. We often use this word to talk about things that are common for adults. So, for example, sibling rivalry often continues into adulthood. By this, we mean that brothers and sisters who compete with each other when they're children still compete with each other when they are adults. Another example is paying bills is my least favourite thing about adulthood, which I'm sure many adults would agree with. One final word with hood that's useful is parenthood. When somebody has a child, that is when a couple give birth, they become parents. Of course, this can happen at a wide range of ages, and it is different in different countries. In the UK, 30 is now the average age of a new parent. Some people choose not to have any children, so parenthood is not a life stage that everyone goes through. Many people who do have children, though, do say that parenthood is a rewarding experience. I hope that that's helped and you now feel more comfortable about these words and phrases. Which life stages have you been through and which are you looking forward to? Do you have any family members in these life stages? Head over to the link in the description and complete the exercises about these phrases to help you remember them. I'll see you in the next lesson.